I know of a closing where there were 50 plus heirs that needed to be tracked down. A title search is not an instantaneous thing. It's like a treasure hunt, and the more people there are, the longer it takes. Hey everybody, welcome back to the North Carolina Real Estate Show. I'm Tiffany Weber. I'm a real estate attorney in Mooresville, North Carolina at Thomas & Weber, and today I am joined by Erin Weatherman.
Hello, everybody.
She's also an attorney at Thomas & Weber. You've probably seen her on the podcast before, or if you've listened to some episodes, so I'm so happy that you are back with us today.
Yes, thank you for having me.
And it's a super fun topic,
Yeah, nothing heavy about it at all.
No. So 5 things a real estate agent should know when selling property out of an estate. Hit me. I'm kidding. Your thoughts. What's something you think an agent should know if they're selling property out of an estate?
So selling property out of an estate is not the same as Jane and Joe selling property, because we have to consider a lot of things. One is, who are the heirs? So generally, we need everyone and their mom to sign. A lot of people think, I'm the executor, I can be the only person to sign. That's not usually the case. If you have a will that specifically says that I devise this property to my executor and I direct that executor to sell the property, then maybe we can get away with just the executor signing. But most of the time, estate planning attorneys aren't also real estate attorneys and know that. That's just not common knowledge.
They don't know what it takes to get clear title to the property, or what a title insurer will require to be able to do that. Now, occasionally, if there are debts to be paid out of the estate and the property has to be sold to pay those debts, you may be able to get a court order that allows the executor to sell without the heirs. Again, that is highly unlikely.
It's rare.
Or it's just not common. You would be better served as an agent to assume more people need to sign than less.
Yep.
If your person says, I'm the executor, I'm the only person that needs to sign, you should think in the back of your mind, probably not, and find out what you need to look at and what you need an attorney to look at so that you know you have all the right people signing the contract.
Yeah. So just like in regular North Carolina, we have to have spouses sign everything. An heir's spouse is going to have to sign. But those heirs' judgments attach just like they owned the property.
And that's because once the person, the decedent, rather than saying dead person, the decedent has passed, the title vests in the heirs immediately.
So we're looking at everyone. We're looking at a brother, a son, a grandson, anyone who could have claim to that property as an heir.
They all get searched, and it makes it does extend the time that a search takes. I know of a closing where there were 50 plus heirs that needed to be tracked down. A title search is not an instantaneous thing. It's like a treasure hunt, and the more people there are, the longer it takes.
So the estate needs to be open in the county the property is located in. So just because they died in, Durham County, doesn't mean if the property's in Iredell that we don't have to open it in Iredell. We have to open it in Iredell as well. So that's important. There's also a lot that comes with the estate being open. So our office is going to require an open estate indemnity as well as...
Because the title company wants it.
Yes. We got to follow those rules.
Yeah. That's something that a lot of agents maybe don't realize, is that ultimately the contract says marketable and insurable title. So we may be able to determine whether a title is marketable or not. But if there's something hanging out there that a title insurer may not accept the risk for and won't insure, we got almost essentially a higher power that can intervene and say, nobody's willing to accept the risk on this without certain things in place. So open estate indemnity is one of those things.
And so if that estate's open, we also have to make sure that a notice to creditors has run.
And also, let's say an estate has been open in another county, but it has been closed and it was never filed in the county where the property is. Exemplified copies or certified true copies of that, the will, the notice, all of there's kind of like 4 big relevant documents, can be filed in the county where the property is located. So it doesn't always necessitate the opening of like probating, but having the estate file that has been probated and closed filed in the county where the property is located is required.
Yeah.
Now, what about if there's not a will?
Then we're going to go to that great North Carolina statute, and we're going to figure out who are your heirs at law.
And that some people would be surprised to find out that maybe if you die without a will, that their estate wouldn't pass the way they expected. This is my preachy moment for a second. Like before my daughter was born, if Ryan and I didn't have a will, then the way North Carolina has it set up is, my husband would get part of my estate and my parents would get part of my estate. Well, that wasn't what Ryan and I really wanted to, we wanted everything to go to each other. So, the conventional wisdom of, if you don't have children, you don't need a will.
Yeah.
Well, if you and your spouse have been married for some time and you've built up considerable assets together,
yeah,
maybe you don't want your spouse to have to share your estate with your parents, everybody talk to an attorney about that. That's just my preachy moment of the day.
Yeah. If you don't know and like North Carolina intestate law, then maybe you should get a will. The only other thing is, and this is kind of off topic, but kind of related, is what happens if someone dies while they're under contract? And so if the seller passes away while they are under contract, they are still under contract. It's instead of Joe is under contract, Joe's estate is under contract. And so that buyer can still buy that property, but we're going to get the estate involved. And so it's going to maybe delay it a little bit.
Yeah, most likely. So those are just some things to chew on if you're a real estate agent that is, got one of these listings or is thinking about taking one of these listings, or, you anticipate to have a long real estate career. You will definitely have one of these at some point in your life. So thank you so much, Erin, for joining me on the podcast today. Appreciate your insight. And, if y'all need a will, I know somebody. It is not someone that doesn't work at Thomas & Weber.
It is someone who does.
It is, in fact, Erin Weatherman at Thomas & Weber in North Carolina in Mooresville. So thanks again for coming. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the North Carolina Real Estate Show.